Hi all, welcome back to my channel. It is Ian here in sunny Beijing, once again saying welcome. So yesterday I was at the bank, and as a foreigner in China, banking can be a bit of a ball ache if you are looking to transfer money back to your home country. I'm going to go somewhere quiet actually, it's quite noisy here. You first have to prove the history of the money, then prove the validity of the tax you paid on that income, and then you convert it into the currency of your choice, and then you transfer this to your bank account back in the UK or your home country if you're from the US or whatever. I am making it sound easy, but in China you need everything documented, and it all has to add up, and trust me, that is never easy. So it then becomes a paperwork feast, multiple calculations with recounts, and then along waits, and then more recounts, and then wait. So while I was waiting, I got to thinking how fortunate I am to at least have the money to transfer back to the UK, because things are not great for many people at the moment. And as someone who follows the financial markets closely, I can tell you that the next 6 months to a year are not going to be very pretty, trust me. Anyway, where am I going with this? Well, I got to thinking about how things will escalate in the way that they did in the last big bust in 2008, and how desperate we all were back then. It was scary.
What we know now is Wall Street can bring down Main Street. And frankly, I'm going to tell you, it's a little scary.
I was scared. It was a bad situation, and at that time crime soared. And that is what I was reflecting on when I was in the bank, waiting, and waiting, and waiting. I have seen some of the violent robberies in the retail stores in America on YouTube, and it's horrific. But it takes me back to some of the stresses I had to put up with back in the UK. And I realised that we actually don't have the same threat of robbery living here in China. It's just not the same. And when I say robbery, I don't mean cleaners, noisy everywhere I go. I don't mean physical attack, because I mentioned that in a previous video, and I can tell you China is a very safe place. So here there is no gun crime, there is no real violence, although it can happen because people still have confrontations. And I don't kid myself that China is a utopia with zero violence. In fact, I've seen some. But the chances of having violence perpetrated towards you here is vastly smaller in China than what it is in the West, Europe, UK or the US. So I was asking myself a different question when I was in the bank, waiting. So I was asking, what are the chances here in being robbed, as in having your belongings stolen from you or even pickpocketed? And I can tell you it is also very low in comparison to the other places that I mentioned, US, UK and so on. And I can give you examples. So I'd been sitting in a cafe or a restaurant, and the person has just got up and went off for something, probably the toilet, and they have left all their belongings there unprotected, bags and laptops and stuff just lying there, and off they go 10 minutes or so, and then they come back. You see all the order out food, big culture of ordering food to the place you work or whatever, being delivered to a central delivery area for people to pick up at lunchtime. But no one steals anyone else's food. It's just not a done thing. Sure, there might be a mix-up sometimes, but people just don't take what doesn't belong to them here. When you walk the streets in Beijing, you see lots of bikes with luggage on them, and boxes and helmets and stuff, all there, and no one bothers with it. In fact, I'm just walking past a parcel depot in the middle of the street, and it's been there all night. Nobody steals anything. I think it's just not in the psyche to take from others in the way that we do in the Western cultures, that's for sure. There are always a lot of beautiful cars that never get broken into or stolen, even when they have people's belongings in the back seats or stuff on the dashboard. Things just don't get broken into or stolen or robbed, for that matter. They never get touched. It's weird. As in the West, the windows would be smashed and the belongings removed from that car, and you would wake up in the morning, your glass would be there. And anyone that says, nah, that doesn't happen, then I have to say, yeah, it does. And I've been a victim of that. So that's a reality living in the West with a nice car. Stuff gets broken into. So that's better. It's actually cooler here and less noisy. So yeah, I've also seen delivery vans park up and the delivery guy run off and deliver something, and then they leave the parcels and stuff just sitting there in the street. I often see the parcels for delivery as they're being sorted sitting on the street as a delivery person heads off to arrange deliveries or organise something, and all the parcels just sit there in the open without any security. In the UK, that stuff would be gone, disappeared, pinched as they say, or half-inched as we say, which is slang for pinched, or in other words stolen. So things would be half-inched. So yeah, it's really different here when it comes to things being stolen. I also see people on the metro system with bags open and items visible that would be on an obvious target for pickpockets. But pickpocketing is not a big thing here. I'm going to put my mask up, just cutting through some other areas. Although it does happen, as I'm aware of some people who have had their belongings pickpocketed. But again, it's nowhere near the levels as it is back in the West, in the UK. Like something like London. London, pickpocketing is out of control in London, and when I was there, I would always be aware of what I had in my pockets, etc., and take precautions. And I used to travel all over the UK, and I'd always be protecting my stuff from pickpockets, make sure things were in pockets, front pockets and stuff. And if I was in a cafe working, I would tie my bag to the leg of the table, because if you turned your head or where you were distracted, sometimes people would distract you with that purpose in mind, you would get stuff stolen from you. Here, people are much more relaxed about things because they know theft is not a big thing, and the risk of it happening is actually quite low. It's such a much more pleasing atmosphere to live in, and I never stop noticing the subtle differences. Like when I see people ride their scooter, jump out and leave the scooter with their bags and everything inside on their scooter, well, they go off and do something. Again, in the UK, that would just disappear. I've seen keys left in scooters while the owner goes off somewhere. Everywhere you go in Beijing, you can see where any thief could take an advantage. Anywhere you go, people could take advantage of other people. All of the video I'm sharing with you now is what you see time and time again in Beijing. It's what I see daily. I know what people will say to me in the comments below. They'll say, yeah, but Ian, there's cameras everywhere, there's police everywhere. Well, I can tell you the police thing is not true. As for the cameras, yes, there are cameras, but there are cameras everywhere in the West. And I'm presuming cameras were about when this stuff happened.
Within 1 minute, 19 seconds, using a chain and a pickup truck, tires squealing, to rip the doors off the hinges. They mobilize inside. This thief jumps the counter, ignoring other guns, and goes straight for an assault rifle. Others take armfuls of rifles and shotguns. The hammerman moves down a row of glass cases, smashing as he goes. Others follow right behind, filling bags full of handguns.
Anyway, for my part, and for what I can pick up, there's not a mindset to steal from each other here. It's just not in the psyche. It does happen, but not anywhere near the same in the West. Maybe the consequences are greater as the law acts faster and does apply punishment that acts as a deterrent. I'm also not naive. I do know crime happens here. You know, I'm not an idiot. But again, it's nowhere near that volume in the West. It's an interesting topic to be talking about, but I just got to thinking when I was in the bank. Anyway, I do hope everyone, every decent person, not the thieves, well, who is everywhere in the world, I hope you stay safe and look after your belongings, because things are going to be super tough in the coming years. With that, take care. It's getting busy now, still hot. Peace out.